Hey there, ready to dive into a philosophical rabbit hole? We're going deep on vicarious causation,
Okay.
a concept from philosopher Graham Harman,
Ooh,
using excerpts from his work as our guide.
sounds good.
Get this, he's exploring how things interact when even atoms and zebras are like secret agents hidden from each other.
It's a fascinating challenge to our everyday assumptions.
Yeah.
We usually think of philosophy as focusing on humans and our relationship with the world, right? But Harman flips the script, arguing that traditional philosophy has often overlooked how everything else out there, from rocks to rainbows,
Okay.
interacts with each other.
So it's not just about how we see a tree, but also about how that tree might perceive or interacts with the ground. It's rooted in the sun shining on its leaves,
Right.
even the birds nesting in its branches. It's about a whole network of interactions we usually don't even think about.
Exactly. Harman wants us to consider the bigger picture, how every object from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy might be engaging in these hidden relationships. And to do this, he introduces the idea of two types of objects: real objects and sensual objects.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Break it down for me. What's the difference?
Think of the real object as the thing itself existing out in the world, independent of any observer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take that tree as an example.
Okay.
The real tree is out there with all its complexities,
Yeah.
whether we're looking at it or not,
Right.
but our perception of it, the mental image we form, the way it feels to touch its bark,
Hmm.
that's the sensual object.
So there's the actual tree, which might be way more complex and mysterious than we can ever fully grasp. And then there's our experience of the tree shaped by our senses and perceptions.
Precisely. The key difference is that the real object is always withdrawn, never fully notable, while the sensual object is our direct experience.
Okay.
It's like trying to know everything about a zebra.
Mm-hmm.
Every strike, every thought, every experience.
Right.
Impossible, right?
Yeah.
That's the real zebra, always a bit beyond our grasp.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it to you.
Good.
But if real objects are always hidden, how do they interact at all? I mean, we can't just have a universe of things floating around unconnected, can we?
That's the central mystery Harman tackles.
Okay.
He argues that while real objects never directly touch, they still manage to influence each other.
Mm.
Think of it like this. Imagine a glass marble sitting on a table.
Okay.
For us, it's a simple object, but for the marble, the table is a whole central world it's encountering, shaping its experience.
So even a marble has its own version of reality based on what it interacts with. That flips the script on how we usually see the world.
It's a radical shift in perspective.
Yeah.
And to explain how these hidden connections work, Harman outlines 5 key ways objects can relate to each other.
Okay, I'm ready for the juicy details. How does Harman break down these relationships?
He calls them containment, continuity, sincerity, connection, and no relation at all.
Whoa. 5 different ways objects can relate. So it's not just about bumping into each other or being near each other.
Not at all. Take containment, for example. That's when one object literally contains another, like a box holding a collection of trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
Or contiguity.
Yeah.
That's simply about objects being near each other in space, like those marbles scattered on a table.
All right, so containment and contiguity seem pretty straightforward.
Right.
But what about the other 3? What's sincerity got to do with, say, a couple of marbles?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Sincerity, in Harman's view, is more than just a human feeling.
Okay.
It's about an object being absorbed in or focused on another object.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as a kind of directed attention, even if it's not conscious like ours.
So the marble is sincere towards the table it's sitting on. It's experiencing the table as part of its world, even if it's not having deep thoughts about it.
Exactly. And here's a mind-blowing thought. Even inanimate objects have this kind of sincerity, their own way of caring about their surroundings.
Wow.
It might not be a conscious choice, but it's a fundamental way objects connect.
So even a rock cares about its surroundings in its own way.
Yeah,
That's a wild concept.
it is.
And we've still got 2 more types of relationships on Armin's list.
Right.
Connection and no relation.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about those?
Well, no relation is fairly straightforward.
Okay.
It's simply the absence of any interaction between 2 objects.
Mm-hmm.
They exist independently, like ships passing in the night.
Okay.
But connection is where things get really intriguing.
All right.
It's the most mysterious of the 5, hinting at how those hidden real objects can actually influence each other.
Hold on. I'm sensing a but coming.
You got it. Remember, Harman insists that real objects never directly touch.
Right.
So how do they manage to bridge that gap and form a connection? That's where his concept of allure comes into play.
Okay, allure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking charm, attraction, maybe even a bit of mystery.
Uh-huh.
Am I on the right track?
You're getting warmer. Think of it like this.
Okay.
You know those metaphors we use, like my heart is a furnace or she's a ray of sunshine?
Yeah.
They hint at something deeper, something beyond the literal.
Mm-hmm.
That's allure at work.
So it's not just about beauty in the conventional sense, but about any kind of experience where an object seems to reveal a hidden depth, something that pulls us in.
Exactly. It's about those moments when an object seems to spark a connection to offer a glimpse into its hidden essence.
Right.
And Harman's radical idea is that allure isn't just a human experience.
Okay.
It's happening all the time between objects, even if we don't see it.
So that marble we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier, it's not just passively sitting on the table, it's
Right.
experiencing a lure towards the table, even if it's not a conscious experience like ours.
That's right. It's all part of this intricate dance of connection that's constantly happening beneath the surface of things.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. We've got these real objects hidden from direct view.
Yeah.
We've got sensual objects, our own limited perceptions of things.
Right.
And now we've got allure, this mysterious force that somehow bridges the gap between them.
Hmm.
How does Harman bring all these pieces together?
To really grasp Harman's theory, it helps to understand a key distinction he makes between ontology and metaphysics.
Ooh, two philosophical heavyweights.
Yeah.
Now I'm really intrigued.
Don't worry, it's not as daunting as it sounds. Think of ontology as the rule book of reality, the underlying structure that governs how everything exists and interacts.
Okay,
It's the big picture framework.
got it.
Metaphysics, on the other hand, is more like zooming in on specific types of players in the game.
So you could have a metaphysics of humans, a metaphysics of art, even a metaphysics of black holes, each with its own set of rules and characteristics.
Exactly. It's about understanding the unique features of different categories of being while still acknowledging the under that ontological framework that connects them all.
Okay, I think I'm following so far.
Good.
But how do sensual objects, our own perceptions, fit into this picture? Are they purely subjective, or do they play a role in this grand ontological scheme?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of Harman's philosophy. He argues that central objects are more than just fleeting human experiences.
Okay.
They're actually a crucial part of how objects interact and influence each other.
Wait a minute, are you saying that my coffee cup, for instance, has its own sensual objects? That it perceives the world in its own way?
In a sense, yes. Remember those 5 types of relationships? Well, sincerity isn't limited to humans.
Right.
Harman argues that it's an ontological feature, meaning it's woven into the fabric of reality itself.
Wow.
Every object has a kind of directed attention, a way of being absorbed in certain aspects of its environment.
So even inanimate objects have this quality of being focused on or caring about things around them.
Exactly. Think about it. For us, it might be the taste of our coffee or the sound of a loved one's voice that captures our attention.
Yeah.
But for a rock, it might be the pressure of the ground beneath it or the warmth of the sun.
It's like every object has its own little world, its own unique perspective on things based on what it's interacting with.
Precisely. And those interactions are shaped by those sensual objects, those moments of focused attention that create connections and meaning.
All right, we've established that even rocks have a certain sincerity about their surroundings.
Right.
But I'm still struggling with how this allure thing works.
Okay.
How do real objects hidden away in their secret agent world actually manage to connect?
That's the million-dollar question. And Harman's answer might surprise you.
Oh, really?
He uses the example of a tree to illustrate how this process unfolds.
Ooh, a tree. I love a good nature analogy.
Okay.
Lay it on me.
Imagine you're walking through a forest and you come across a magnificent tree.
Okay.
You stop to admire it, taking in its towering height, the rough texture of its bark, the rustling of its leaves in the breeze.
Sounds peaceful. I'm already feeling more relaxed.
Now, those qualities you're experiencing, the height, the texture, the sounds,
Yeah.
they're not just random features.
Okay.
Harman argues that they're like signals emanations from the real object, the actual tree out there.
So the tree is broadcasting these qualities, and our senses are picking them up like a radio receiver.
That's a great way to put it. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Those qualities don't just describe the tree. They actually allow us to connect with it, to form a relationship with it. That's the power of allure.
So the tree's allure is like a bridge between the real object, the tree itself, and our sensual experience of it. It's what draws us in and makes us feel connected to it.
Exactly. And Harman believes this is happening all the time between all objects, not just humans and trees.
Wow.
The way a rock interacts with the ground, the way a planet orbits a star,
Right.
it's all mediated by this exchange of qualities through allure.
Whoa, so we're not just talking about aesthetics in the traditional sense.
Right.
We're talking about the very fabric of reality, the way objects communicate and influence each other on a fundamental level.
You're getting it. It's a radical shift in perspective, one that challenges us to see the world as a dynamic interplay of allure, a constant dance of connections happening all around us.
So it's this constant dance of allure that's actually holding the universe together. It's like we're all connected by these invisible threads of attraction and interaction. It makes you wonder if even a rock is experiencing allure. What does that mean for us humans? Do we have a special role to play in all of this, or are we just another object caught up in the cosmic dance?
That's a profound question, and it goes to the heart of what makes Harman's philosophy so challenging. He doesn't deny the uniqueness of human consciousness, our ability to reflect, to create, to form complex relationships. But he insists that we're not the only ones with a story to tell.
So we're part of this web of allure, but not necessarily at the center of it. We're just one player among many, each with our own unique way of interacting and experiencing the world.
Precisely. In fact, Harman suggests that clinging too tightly to a human-centered view might actually limit our understanding of the universe's richness and complexity.
Yeah.
By acknowledging the allure happening all around us between objects, between humans and nature, even between seemingly inanimate things,
Right.
we might gain a deeper appreciation for the interconnectedness of everything.
It's like he's inviting us to step outside our usual way of seeing things and recognize the agency and vibrancy of all things, not just our own. It's a humbling thought, but also kind of exciting, don't you think?
Absolutely. Imagine walking through that forest again.
Yeah.
But this time, you're not just admiring the beauty of the trees, you're considering the intricate web of allure connecting everything around you. The trees whispering to each other in the breeze, the rocks silently absorbing the warmth of the sun, the hidden network of roots and fungi communicating beneath the soil. It's a whole new way of experiencing the world, one that's full of wonder and possibility.
It really makes you realize there's so much more going on than we usually perceive. It's like we've been walking around with blinders on, missing out on this whole level of interaction and meaning.
And if we can start to remove those blinders, who knows what new insights and connections we might discover. Perhaps we'll find new ways to appreciate art, to connect with nature, even to relate to each other. After all, if even a rock can experience allure, imagine the possibilities for us humans.
It's almost like we're being asked to become more attuned to the hidden depths of the world, to see the magic and mystery that's often concealed beneath the surface of things.
Precisely. And perhaps by embracing this more expansive view, this object-oriented ontology, as Harman calls it, we can begin to understand our place in the universe in a new and profound way. We're not just isolated individuals, but participants in this grand cosmic dance of allure interconnected with everything around us.
It's a beautiful thought and love that I think we can all carry with us as we go about our lives. So next time you're out for a walk or even just sitting in your living room, take a moment to consider the hidden connections all around you. Think about the allure at play between objects, the subtle ways they're communicating and interacting. Who knows, you might just discover a whole new level of beauty and meaning in the most unexpected places.
That's a fantastic point to end on. Keep your eyes open, stay curious, and embrace the mystery. The universe is full of surprises for those willing to look beyond the surface.